steal away to that favorite spot and relax as we bring you all the best highlights. Don't let anyone wrestle that remote away from you, as this promises to be a good one. Nothing but net. Sportsnight is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Spear. We have a quick one.
Yeah, we're at that point.
Winding down.
We're at that point in the season. Just one Cardinal left standing. The boys basketball team is the only winter activity still going for Coon Rapids. But a lot to talk about. A couple of state tournaments that we talked about last week. Four Cardinals representing their teams at state this past week. 3 of them are seniors, and no better way to end your career than on the greatest stage in the sport.
I mean, that's what, when you start the season, that's your goal, is to make it to the state tournament. And fortunately, as we talked about, we have 4 athletes that have made it there so far.
Yeah, that includes 3 of the wrestling team's 4 captains that qualified for state. For a couple of them, it was the final meet of their high school career. Understand that 16 wrestlers qualify for state in each weight class, so it puts extra importance on the first match. If you lose in the opening round and the guy who beat you loses in the quarterfinal, your tournament is over. Unfortunately, that was the case for 2 of the 3 Cardinals at state. Sophomore Jack Bridenstine at the X for the 2nd straight season, but he gets into a world of trouble in the first period at 1:33. Shockably's Calvin Miller gets the pin with just 4 seconds left in the period. He lost the next match, so Bridenstine was done. Senior captain Kenny Wells earning his first trip to state at 172, but it didn't go as planned. He got first points in his match, but lost a hard-fought 6-2 decision, and he wouldn't get another chance to compete. Carter Skradsky was the Cardinals' only section champion, coming in as the champion at 160 with pins in all 3 section matches. Start state the same way, headlock for the pin in just 1/11. But Skradsky traded wins with losses and failed to place, finishing 2-2 at state.
Well, first of all, congratulations to those 3 wrestlers who made it. You know, it's always nice. You want to go on, you want to see if you can get some hardware, but the fact that they're there, that's phenomenal.
Well, and for the 2 captains, Skradsky and Wells have been captains of this team since their sophomore year. Just fantastic young men and great leaders for this program, and some big shoes they are going to leave behind. For Carter Skradsky, 39 wins this season, 115 in his career. Kenny Wells was 29-10 this year and had 70 wins in his career. Jack Bridenstine, a bright future.
Yes.
He was a captain as a sophomore this year, so he's going to be the one to take the reins. He finished with a 36-9 record this season. He's got 2 trips to state under his belt. He's got 2 more chances. And Hayden Skillings, who is their 4th captain, the one, their heavyweight.
Yep.
And he shows a lot of promise. So, and look for him to come back hungry as a senior next year. But congratulations definitely to those 3 for finishing in the biggest meet of the year.
Well, knowing Coach Tronson as we do, he'll be able to fill those spots for next year. He'll have those guys competing at the same level. Well, another Cardinal captain finishing their season in the biggest meet of the year was the swimming and diving team's Mitch Tronson. Tronson was guaranteed points for this team all season long. Every time he hit the water, you're almost assured of a bronze or better finish, regardless of the event. And he qualified for state as the section runner-up in the 500 freestyle. The Freeman Aquatic Center at the University of Minnesota is host to the big event, and you can see just 3 swimmers in the qualifying heat. Tronson has a great swim, 4.55.39 is personal best by more than 2 seconds. Doesn't get him to the final, but it's 22nd place. Not a bad way at all to end your career. You know, we would have liked to obviously place a little higher, but the fact that he was there and he swam well in the event that he's been swimming really well in all year long.
And again, to finish your career with a personal best, you can't ask for more than that.
Not.
And to be able to do it at the University of Minnesota in the state championship, fantastic way for him to kind of put a ribbon on his career. And he's been a big part of the transition with Coach Haley Scholl coming in. He was one of the guys at the top, Nolan Schultz and Connor Butel, a couple of the other seniors that have helped lead the team this year. But they leave a pretty healthy program considering how small they were, how much they were able to achieve and accomplish this year is quite impressive.
Well, and Mitch is one of those athletes that, year after year improved, and you could see the improvement up to this year, and he was dominant in the events that he swam in.
Well, the girls basketball team, as we've talked about all year, allowed to drop to Class 3A this season, which gave them a lot of hope heading into last week's playoffs. They knew it wouldn't be easy as the 6th seed to knock off 3rd-seeded Fridley, but after facing 4A competition all year long, they felt they had a pretty good chance to upset the Tigers. Both teams struggled a bit offensively to start the game, but Fridley is able to grab the lead, and they scored the first 6 points of the night. Cardinals didn't get their first basket until more than 5 minutes in, but it's a big one. Kaylee Bierman spotting up for a three-pointer. Coon Rapids had 5 three-pointers from 5 different players in the first half. Unfortunately, they were playing from behind most of the night. Brandy Washington had 8 of her 14 in the first half for Fridley. Cardinals keeping it close, though. Jada Gaskins with a strong move to the paint. She had 13 points and 9 rebounds in what turned out to be her final game of high school ball. Tigers get a little breathing room before the break, closing out the first with a 10-3 run. Aubrey Cochran-Starr's three-pointer helped them get to the locker room up by a dozen. Helen Ben was shut out, frustrated, and in foul trouble in the first, but she had a strong second, trying to help lead that team back into the game. Ben has been the workhorse for the Cardinals all season long, and they feed her in the second. Ben had a double-double with 15 points and 12 rebounds. For the Cardinals, just too much. Cochran-Starr had a game-high 31, gets her team to the next round, and ends the Cardinals season with an 80-53 loss.
You know, give credit to Fridley. They did a really nice job defensively, especially in that first half on Helen Ben. Obviously, she got into foul trouble. You could see she was frustrated.
Yeah.
No points. But look what she does in the second half. You know, if she's able to put those kind of numbers in the first half as well, the second half, things may be a little bit different. But unfortunately, it's a tough way to go out because I think Coach Bierman, you know, when our conversations felt this is an opportunity to get this win.
I think absolutely
Yep.
it was, but they needed to be able to get their big guns going and limit the big guns for Fridley.
Right.
And, while Washington didn't have extraordinary numbers, Cochran-Starr was just a monster all over the floor all night long.
Well, yeah, and I think and Coach Bierman talked about her.
And they had 4 points,
Right.
four players in double digits.
One of the things he said is that they've got a lot of girls coming off the bench that can score, but some of their starters just do a really nice job filling it up offensively.
Take a look at the updated bracket, and they really only got one more game because they ran into second-seeded Monticello. Totino Grace, the number 4 seed, coming out of the Northwest Suburban, feeling a little underappreciated as the number 4 seed. They knock off number 1 Becker and get themselves to the finals. That's coming up on Thursday night out at STMA. So that leaves, as we talked about, the boys basketball team as the last winter sport for Coon Rapids. They had a couple of games last year, started on the road on Thursday, and they beat up on Sartell. 74-41. Jackson Young poured in 31 points. Jerry Freeman had 14. Jackson Hetwer added 9. Connor Jordan couldn't keep the double-double streak going, but he did grab 12 boards, came up a couple of points shy. But a big win for the Cardinals, and they came home and celebrated senior night on Friday, and they got themselves back to 500. And the most important part about this win for the Cardinals, a great night for Jerry Freeman with 30 points and 9 boards. But the biggest thing is not only does it get it back to 500, but it's a win over a section team below them in the standings.
Exactly.
And they lost a couple of those over the last couple of weeks that they really would have liked to take back and get another second shot at. At least this one they were able to win. They get back to 500. And it works out in their favor when you look at the brackets. Cardinals earning the number 2 seed will host Centennial in the first round. Should they win, they will advance to Princeton on Saturday to take on the winner of Blaine and Anoka. Forest Lake, the number 1 seed, hosts the Duluth East on Wednesday night. And over at the number 4 will welcome the Blue Jackets. So, not, I think, as strong a season as the Cardinals hoped, expected, would have liked, but strong enough that they start the playoffs at home and with a good chance to make a deep run.
Yeah, go back to that Anoka game because, you know, they were trailing early in that game, and they did a really nice job defensively and good job coming back in that one. And then they take on Centennial in the first game. That, we always talk about Jackson Young. We always talk about Jerry Freeman. Connor Jordan had 24 points, 10 boards, and 8 assists in that game against Centennial that they won earlier. So they're going to need him as well.
Well, and he's been playing really well down these last couple of weeks. He had the back-to-back double-doubles the week before, even though they were both in losses. Just about had a double-double in each of this week's games. So he's playing really well. If they can get him and Russ going and get Hetwer hot from beyond the arc, they're going to be tough to beat. And I mean, they lost to Forest Lake early in the season, but it was a close game.
This is a very winnable section for the Cardinals.
Absolutely.
Got to take one game at a time. You can't look past it, but we're going to be there. We're going to be there for them.
Yes, we will. That is all we have on the schedule. Looking ahead, we will follow them as long as we are allowed and as far as they can go. The Cardinals start the section playoffs at home hosting the Centennial Cougars. Of course, we can't show it to you live, so that'll be here live, or not live, at midnight on Saturday or on Wednesday night. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at TTM, the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro. I'm Joe Young. Saying good night.